Hello and welcome to the Toledo International Youth Orchestra informational meeting. I'm Miranda Zielinski. I am the president of the TIYO board, and with me is Cindy. She is our previous president, and this year she's helping us with our travel planning.
So the first thing we wanted to talk about right out of the gate was the social media presence that we've had that has used the word rebranding. It probably wasn't the right word because TIYO is not rebranding in the sense of changing its logo. But what is happening is that we have new board members who are enthusiastic and energetic and who have taken a pause this year to really give some thoughtful consideration to where TIYO is headed post-pandemic and into the future.
So on our new board, we've been really focusing on our top priorities for our upcoming season. Our first priority is travel. We are getting back to travel this year. Travel is hugely important to TIYO. As a previous member myself, I've been on several trips with TIYO. I got to perform in a golden cathedral in Ecuador. I performed in the city square in Szeged, Hungary. I performed in a small village in Serbia. I've had lots of fantastic opportunities that have just been so memorable and important in my own experiences. And we want to be able to bring those experiences to other students again. Another priority is that we are shortening our season down to one semester. This will give us time to reduce stress on family schedules if they aren't working in the fall. It'll also let us focus on our preparations for travel, as well as reduce conflicts with other musical experiences such as marching band in the fall. Another initiative that I'm very proud to introduce is our legacy membership. This is our new term for the students who have been in TIYO in the past and have become alumni, as we've called them. We want to bring those students back as legacy members so that they can help to share their experience, become mentors for our students, help with social engagement and travel experiences, and support the mission of TIYO. We want our legacy members to come back to us to perform, to travel, whatever they're available and excited to do. And lastly, we are working on grants and development. We are actively looking into grants to bring money into the organization and take the burden of costs off of families. That will take some time, but that is something we're looking into. In the meantime, we are also doing for this season, we're doing a golf outing in the spring to do some fundraising for travel as well. Our conducting team this year, we have Jay Wellens is our head conductor. Jay has been with us since 2013. He is a fantastic conductor. He is passionate, he's excited, and we are really lucky to have him. Students who perform under Jay Wellens know that he is a just fantastic man to work with, fantastic conductor, and he really brings a lot to the organization. Additionally, we have two new conductors, Lainey Roper, who is another legacy member. She performed with TIYO in the past, and now she's come back to share her experience, as well as Alex Munson, who is not a legacy member, but between them, they bring a wealth of experience, and we're really excited to share that with our new students.
So let's talk about one of the top priorities for TIYO, which is travel. And there is a trip planned for this summer. Before we get into the details of the itinerary, though, I want to talk a little bit about what TIYO offers to students when they travel. One of the things we do not do is present families with low pricing that actually doesn't cover everything. So many of you have probably participated in some kind of a presentation where your student was told, you can travel with us and it'll only cost this much money. But by the way, it only covers one meal a day and you have to, send all this extra spending money and cover all of these other incidentals. TIYO does not do that. We want to be transparent and we want to be all inclusive. So when students travel with TIYO, their pricing literally covers everything. It covers transportation to and from Toledo. So there's no driving your child to Detroit or to Chicago or any of those kinds of things. We leave from and return to our rehearsal area. It covers all hotels, 3 meals a day, the tour guides, including the tips. It covers musical rehearsals and experiences and performances. It covers instrument rentals for those students who may need that. Larger instruments in particular are often hard to take on international travel. So summer travel with TIYO, that pricing covers everything. The only additional expenses that families will incur is travel insurance, which we strongly recommend for obvious reasons. And then individual souvenir spending money. So, your kid might want to bring home t-shirts for his brother and sister, or, mugs for mom, whatever. So that money, obviously, you would send, but there are no expenses that your student needs to cover for the duration of the trip for the actual living. So let's talk about the itinerary. This year, we're excited to give our students the opportunity to learn a little bit about North American French culture, as it were. So we wanted to plan a trip this year that did not involve airports and airplanes. Travel since the pandemic has been a challenge for groups, and especially travel with instruments. And we just wanted to avoid that however we could. So we are taking our students this year to French Canada, to Quebec and Montreal. But we have a first stop in Toronto, where they'll have lunch at Chef's Hall, a unique eatery that has different restaurants, all run by top-notch chefs. It's not just your standard Wendy's and McDonald's in a food court. They'll stop and visit Casa Loma, which is a medieval Gothic revival castle and has also been a film set for quite a few movies. Dundas Square is the equivalent of Times Square from New York, but in Toronto. And then the CN Tower is, of course, has an observation deck that the students will be able to go up and look from. The second day is mostly a road trip. We'll be on the bus traveling from Toronto to Montreal. There will be stops for food and, a little sightseeing out the windows, but most of that day will be spent in travel. Montreal, once we reach Montreal, we get to workshop with and I do not speak French, so forgive me if you do, the Orchestra Symphonique de Montreal, which is basically the symphony orchestra in Montreal. So our students will be participating in a masterclass workshop with some of the symphony members. In the middle of the day, they will tour Rue St. Paul, which is home to a lot of the historic landmarks in that part of the country. We'll have a stop at the Museum of Archaeology and History. And I thought this was really cool. So this museum was actually built on the site of a decade of archaeological digs. So the digs happened right on site. And over the course of the decade, they discovered over 1,000 years of human history. And so the museum was built on that site and contains a lot of that information inside. And then the well-known, possibly most famous religious building, Notre Dame Basilica. I forgot to mention on day 3, you don't have to go back, Miranda, but there will also be a performance that is connected to the workshop with the symphony on day 3. I left that out, and that's an important part for your musical trip. Day 4, we switch and we spend some time with the Montreal Academy of Music. So the Academy of Music is more of like a music tutorial, a music school, a place that students go for private lessons and that type of thing, small ensembles. And so our students will have the opportunity to participate in some activities with the Academy of Music, and then break for a late lunch at the Jean Talon market. Jean Talon is one of the oldest public markets in Montreal and has been there for quite some time. Towards the end of the day, we'll hit the Montreal Biodome. So the Biodome has a variety of displays, and they range from like the tropical forest to Antarctica. So the students will have an opportunity in the course of that afternoon to travel through all the different climates, basically, of the world. On day 5, we hit Quebec, and we travel to the Museum of Civilization. The Museum of Civilization is really the cultural and historical center of the city and gives a lot of historical context for Old Quebec. Old Quebec is a UNESCO historical site, and it is the only walled city north of Mexico. It's got a strong historical presence and really gives the kids a chance to experience French culture, the most French culture available outside of France. So it's our international opportunity without airplanes. And then we'll spend a little bit of time on Dufferin Terrace. Dufferin Terrace was built in 1838, and it travels along the wall of the city, has some stunning views, and just a really nice place to spend a little time. Day 6, we leave French Canada and head to Ottawa. Ottawa offers us an Indigenous experience, so an opportunity to do some immersive learning with the Native peoples of Canada. We'll stop at Queen Street Fair for a lunch. It's basically another huge food market with a ton of restaurants and international cuisines. We'll stop at Parliament Hill, which is the main Parliament building in Ottawa and the National Gallery of Canada, and then travel along Rideau Canal, which is a large waterway, a large canal that passes through Ottawa and has all kinds of water recreational activities available. And then, because no trip for students is complete without an amusement park, we will spend day 7 at Canada's Wonderland. It's a straight up Cedar Point in Toronto kind of experience. So, bring your sunscreen and your anti-nausea medication if you need that, and plan to spend a little energy before traveling home. So our Quebec and Montreal trip, with little side stops in Toronto and Ottawa, is hosted by Guardian Music Travel. They're the travel agent that we work with. And Guardian Music Travel provides everything for us, including a tour guide. The trip is 7 days and 6 nights, and the dates we're looking at are June 12th to 18th. There is a charter bus tour guide. I've mentioned that. All the activities are included. Registration takes place online, and there will be links to register on both the TIYO website as well as the Facebook and other social media pages. And payments are all handled through the online portal directly with Guardian Music. So payments for travel don't actually funnel through TIYO. They're handled directly with the travel agent. Passports. Yes, we're going to Canada, and so you may have heard through the grapevine that students under the age of 16 don't need passports. But with a little bit of extra investigation, we've learned that it really is worthwhile to have them. So for any students or chaperones or family members or guests who are planning on traveling with us, and we open travel to all of those folks. So please consider coming along as a parent or a guardian or a sibling. But anyone planning to travel, we strongly encourage you to get started on the application process for passports if you don't already have a passport. Now, it can take some time for that to happen. So we just want to make sure, with June travel, that everybody is getting a head start on that and that passports are received back in time. The price for the trip, as it currently stands, is $24.61. Again, I've said it already, so that's an all-inclusive price. But that is the price for 25 or fewer travelers. And we're really hoping to generate strong interest and to have a really nice, large musical ensemble to travel. So if there are more than 25 travelers on this trip, that cost will go down, and it will go down across the board for everyone.
So that trip is what we're very excited for this summer. Leading up to that, we will be starting our season. The first rehearsal is on Tuesday, February 7th from 6:30 to 8:45 p.m. We will be rehearsing every Tuesday at Toledo School for the Arts. Everyone is welcome to join us. So this is one big thing that is very unique and special about TIYO. We do not have an audition process. We allow people to come join us And that can be really anxiety reducing for students, myself included. That's why I picked TIYO. But we really encourage everyone to come join us. We do ask for a minimum of 1 year playing experience so that we know that all of our musicians will be able to get the music and be active participants in the orchestra. But we really want to see all kinds of different people join. Bring your friends, because everyone is truly welcome, and we really try to foster that like group togetherness as well. One note, TSA does generously let us use their building, but we are not a TSA organization. Communicating with TIYO, our main mode of communication is by email. So once you sign up with TIYO, your name will go on all of our email lists and you will receive most of your communication from tiyoinfo@gmail.com. We also have a website, tiyo.us, and that's where you can find all kinds of information, including our enrollment forms. And when you fill out that enrollment form, we will give you the classroom code for our Google Classroom. A lot of information and reminders will be there as well. And additionally, we'll have practice parts for all the music that we play.
So TIYO is a 501c3 nonprofit. We are a volunteer board, and our conductors are volunteers as well. So all of the adults that are involved with TIYO are volunteer. No one receives any kind of payment or stipend for their time. They do this because they love TIYO. We do charge a membership fee. This year it's $145, which is actually a reduction from the past. We reduced it because we do have a shortened schedule, and we want to respect that, families are paying what they can. We can reduce that even more for those who enroll by December 31st and then pay within 2 weeks, so by January 14th. For those students who get enrolled early, we will automatically deduct $50, bringing that registration or that membership fee down to $95. We offer $25 reimbursement for referrals. So we really encourage you to bring your friends, talk it up amongst your group. Just make sure that when those friends fill out their enrollment form, that they list your name, your student's name on their enrollment form so that we can give your student their $25. And that can be either a straight up reimbursement where we write a check back to you, or it can be applied. We can give that money to the travel agent and it can be applied to travel expenses. We do offer fee waivers for students who are eligible for free and reduced lunch. And that fee waiver is built into the enrollment form already. So as students are filling out the enrollment form, it will take them through 3 separate documents. The third document is the fee waiver, and can be filled out for anybody for whom that is appropriate. And I already mentioned that we're a volunteer board, and our adults, board members, chaperones, volunteers, all give of their time.
So that $145 membership fee is separate from travel costs, and it goes towards our organizational expenses, which are very low. So that money will go towards the purchase and the rights to music. It will go towards our PO box, our website, and insurance for our rehearsal space and students. So that money is going right back to the organization to help cover our costs.
There is a handbook, and it will be available on the Google Classroom. And Miranda already mentioned that students will get access to the Google Classroom after they complete their enrollment paperwork. The handbook goes over the history of TIYO and the mission, lays out expectations, gives a lot of details about rehearsals, helps students and families really understand, how TIYO works and what is expected and all of that. Performance attire is simple. We like to keep things simple at TIYO. So we will provide your student with a black TIYO polo that has a logo already screen printed on it. And then we just ask that for performances, they pair that black polo with black pants, black shoes, black socks, black belt, kind of standard orchestra attire.
Thank you for attending this meeting. If you have any questions, you can email us again at tiyoinfo@gmail.com, and we will be happy to answer those for you. We look forward to a great season.